Hi, I'm Darren Weiss, an attorney with Offit Kerman. Today we're talking to Param Shah, CEO of Fusiform.
So essentially, the story of Fusiform starts in a rural village in India. In high school, I started a nonprofit called the Lotus Life Foundation, which provided medical treatment to children with cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, and other disabilities of the sort. And essentially, I spent 3 years with this foundation up until now, creating orthotics and prosthetics pipelines to provide this sort of treatment to the children there. The idea for Fusiform sort of started when I realized that the time it takes to get a device from the manufacturer to a patient in India took about a month, going back and forth between the village and making the device, and mistakes only make it longer. And by the end, that child has either trashed the device and doesn't wear it, or because it doesn't fit him correctly, they have sores all over their legs. This was clearly a problem, and coming back to the United States, I realized that the same problem occurs. Over here, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to make a device, and there had to be a solution that basically just got better orthotics to people faster. Coming to Hopkins, I got a scholarship. It's called the Hodson Trust Scholarship, and essentially 10 to 12 people receive it every year, and my co-founder received it as well. We were connected through a mutual friend who was also a Hodson scholar, and at that time I knew that I wanted to do something. I wanted to make a device that worked with the patient, that allowed the patient to grow with this device and not have to trash it, not have to continuously wait months for these devices. I came up with very bizarre ideas, but the general sound concept of having a device that lasted a patient longer and could also be received in a shorter amount of time is something that Alex resonated with. Alex is my co-founder. Alex basically took my idea and made it into something real. His background is in 3D scanning. Essentially, he's done research with the Applied Physics Laboratory, where he used 3D scanning to 3D print out implants. Essentially, during craniofacial surgery, they remove a part of the skull from the patient, and he created basically the algorithms that allows him to take a scan of the head, see where the hole is in the skull, and 3D print out an implant to put there. So right up our alley, and he basically created the solution to what my idea was, and we started working together. So entrepreneurship was never actually an interest for me in the beginning of college. I saw the Zuckerbergs of the world and all this happening, but I had no idea exactly how much went on in the entrepreneurship space. My mother passed away from cancer when I was 9 years old, and that pushed me a lot towards being a doctor. Seeing how the surgeons took care of my mom, seeing how they could make a difference on a personal level really resonated with me, and I chose to be a neuroscience pre-med from the fact that I wanted to help people. What I realized, there's a building at Johns Hopkins called Woolman, and it's named after Abe Woolman, who was an engineer. And he, despite not being a doctor, figured out how to chlorinate water. And cholera is being eradicated because of his invention. And I realized that you don't have to be a doctor to make a difference and to help people. What I chose and what I thought was much more interesting to me was making a device that doctors could implement to save millions of lives even after I'm gone. That sort of pushed me towards entrepreneurship, and then I really discovered that bubble of entrepreneurship as itself. How much went on in the industry, and honestly how much I had to learn. It was daunting at first, but I had this entrepreneurial streak, I guess, that I didn't have when I started my nonprofit, and like always, I started from the ground up and just learned as I went.